I don't look. Can you hear me? This is the Eurovision calling. Is my voice clear, or have I continued to be Davros? Edge of my seat. We need cliffhangers in Doctor Who. There's a start for you. And has it worked? Am I going to be serialized? Please, somebody give thumbs up or thumbs down straight away. So, welcome. This might be Time Agent Brendan, or it might be Time Agent Davros. In my usual downtown dodgy saloon. But this diner, we've got the bad wolf spies in, so we've got to be careful. I'm going to endeavour with this dispatch to give you a top secret report on the state of the target, Doctor Who, and offer my manifesto for rescuing it from downward spiral into TV oblivion. So in this Sensphere Saloon special, I'm going to outline the current state of play, why things cannot be allowed to continue, that a coup at Bad Wolf is required to retrieve the reins of the Doctor Who wagon under clear leadership and editorial accountability. Let's start this encrypted message. Nobody's told me off yet. As my subwave network is running on a shonky cracked solar panel. Oh, that joke doesn't work the third time, does it? Because I tell you what, it's been more than that. Let's get going. So this can't continue. Let's just see where we are. 1.1 million since Space Babies we've lost. Not a good thing. That's 42% of the audience. So nobody can challenge what we're saying here. What's even worse, though, and I'll go bigger here to show you, there's season 1 with Chris Eccleston, and then you can see, obviously, the Shooty era, and it's quite dramatic. It was over 10 million when we started, and you can see where we are now. The decline over 15 seasons is stark. Worse than that, though, the great RTD, who's been masterminding season 14 and 15, he's getting half the ratings of Chris Chibnall's last full season, not Flux, the one before. You can see it there. There's the evidence. So he's no guru. So that's where we're up to there on the state of play. It's shocking, and therefore things do need to change. The status quo cannot continue. So, as you also remember, I think I need to make some of these bigger, don't I? RTD promised no gap years, annual Doctor Who, lots of content. How did that work, eh? Back on Saturday. Now, what I've got in green here is what he thought would work. It worked in 2005, and he's trying it again. He reversed his predecessor's decision to abandon the Saturday night and the Christmas Day time slots, so he brought them back. He thought he'd bring some riz back to the program by casting young actors with plenty of energy and sex appeal, he thought. So he's apparently done that. The self-serious tone of Chibnall is gone. Davies bringing back dynamic camera work, colourful sets and bombastic music. So he thinks he's got what he needs. And of course, he's overhauled, when he came back in 2005, he overhauled the whole program's format. The serialization was dumped and all the rest of it. Longer formats, as you know, standalone stories. We know the rest. Season-long arcs, fleshing out the human characters. So basically, as we know, the state of play 20 years later is doing just the same again. Yeah. So bad ratings, half the audience of Chris Chibnall, and the formula that worked in 2005 certainly isn't working now. That's where we stand. So when we come to this, remember when he was talking to Newsround, he said there's going to possibly be a pause and then we can bring it back later. So it looks to us like the BBC have 3 choices. Find a new international streaming partner, make the show in-house on a more constrained budget, or put it in hiatus. And this is where we've all got our choices. Now, I'm going to tell you my manifesto regarding what I think we need to do. Okay? And I'm not going for the drama option yet, which is, disaster, cancel, reboot, death to all. I'm going to try and show you a possible other way, okay? And then we can discuss it. So, in essence, what I found this week and last week, and you've noticed in whatever show I was doing, there's been so many articles. There's even another one today that's actually, this is The Guardian, fairly progressive media outlets who would normally back RTD. They're all saying the time is up for this formula of Doctor Who. yet they still think it's got potential in its storytelling. As you can see there, it says time is simply up for this version of Doctor Who in this TV landscape. Now, if that's not an indictment of RTD, I don't know what is. Everybody is saying it needs to shift. We've been saying it for quite a while. We've been getting a lot of abuse, but now it's our turn to actually put it right. So if everybody in the thread appreciates, I'm going to set out my stall in a moment. A few other little details first, and then we'll all discuss what we think we can do to save Doctor Who, okay? So, City AM, if I go bigger here, on the left-hand side, was saying that actually Doctor Who, what's gone wrong with Doctor Who? It's overcomplicated and too expensive. There's one mistake so far, and there's a way of writing that. Peter Purvis, who obviously I was showing the Children of Time yesterday, when he opened the Peterborough Science Sci-Fi Museum exhibition, said modern Doctor Who is just far too sophisticated, and that affects the budget. As City AM was arguing here, okay, the format is too brutal, and it's showing its age. In 45 minutes, every Doctor Who writer at the moment has to introduce a complex sci-fi setting, establish a fresh cast of allies and villains, and resolve the whole situation. That's it, in 45 minutes. And then they say, basically, in essence, as we've all discovered, as we know, to our cost, that the Doctor ends up doing a frenetic telling of all the things he's doing while he's multitasking something else. Everything gets faster pace. But these varied settings per week is making the show exhausting to watch on streaming services, and it's unnecessary. Okay, so that's our state of play. And as City AM argues, what he has done by making us put up with the same format as 2005 RTD, he hasn't realized that the TV landscape has changed. So as they say here, why do we need 45-minute episodes anyway? Doctor Who is no longer being syndicated in this way. So that reason in 2005 is gone. So there's one reason why we're sticking with this format. The second thing is on the serialization front. RTD thought serialization would be a disaster in 2005. Maybe he was right. But now I think he's missed his moment. As they say here, but today they can catch up on episodes they miss whenever they want. The concern had been if you serialize, people who've missed part 1 and 2, you've lost them. No, not with iPlayer and everything else. So catch up on episodes they miss whenever they want. And the cost of securing new sets and new actors, new monsters every week could be ameliorated, okay? So that's one argument that we could change very, very quickly. And yet again, before I move on, City M, they've tried partying like it's the year 2005. It's now time for something different. Everybody, honestly, it's as if the media's all got together and decided to whisper, RTD's looking too tired. And just to stick the boot in, and wasn't it nice to see? Peter Purvis, there we go. We used to have stories that were very simple. You went from there to there. You had a cliffhanger at the end of an episode. The following week, you picked up from there and went to another cliffhanger. Then end of story, on to another one. Very simple, very straightforward, very clear, and easy for kids to understand. Can we just say one thing before that's dismissed as saying, you know, oh God, we could never go back to how they did it then because, you know, everybody's much more, you know, kind of, you know, advanced and all the rest of it, and people couldn't cope with that. Excuse me, I would be happy with a linear process like that, because what he's not saying, Peter Purvis, and we know he could have said this, that's basically the format of the show and the plot. But within that, you can have subplots, character building, lovely little moments when the Doctor talks to his assistant while he's kind of working on some sort of, you know, kind of medical concoction. In essence, that's what happens. But I have to say, we all knew that was a format in the 60s and the 70s, and yet it was never boring because every writer had to add flesh onto that. He's just explores the naked scaffold of the 60s and 70s plot. So we're not saying all we want is that. I had never had a problem with people running up and down corridors as long as there's a reason and there's real jeopardy. That was the issue there. So let's just finish off with where I stand with the status quo, and then I'll get to obviously my manifesto. And as you know, the Metro's turned as well on RTD. Just two things here. they want the audience to be trusted to understand the moral lesson. We're sick of being patronized. Please, RTD, says the Metro, give a lighter touch to exposition and moral diatribe and more gravitas to the complexities that it offers, while trusting Ncuti's ability to convey emotion. That would go a long way, and it would help if we weren't feeling patronized along the way. So, my God, we have really, really got some issues here, haven't we? And so, of course, last night we were discussing, can anyone write good Doctor Who anymore? Well, I think first and foremost, we as the fans who do know the show need to set a framework, a manifesto of what we think writers should work towards. Okay? Not, yeah, I suppose like a showrunner post RTD. And that's basically in essence what I want to kind of set up here. Okay, so this is going to be my manifesto to save Doctor Who. I'm not going to give you nuts and bolts of every single minute of each episode, because that's for us to add flesh as individual writers. I'm acting here like showrunner. Then I'm going to come to the thread and see exactly what everybody thinks, and then we'll have a kind of good debate about it. So please stick with me, please. Okay, let's get going. So the first thing I want to kind of say is this. I think we can have and should have, if we were the BBC, a time-locked hiatus, pause, maybe 2 years. And I'm being very specific here, because in that time, there will be jobs being done. So it's not like they kind of cancel Doctor Who for a few years, nothing happens, bit of tumbleweed, and then we scramble around to find somebody, and then we have to wait another year while they start filming. No, that's not the point. If we ended Doctor Who tomorrow, straight away, we establish, seek out 2 writers' rooms. 2. I want them not in competition, but they've got 2 very specific things. And I want 2 separate ones. So in parallel, so shorter amount of time, they are doing different things. The first writing group is discussing how they re-establish the Doctor. Now, I'm going to give some rules and regulations in a minute, but that's their job, to actually kind of think, well, how can we do this? How can we pull him back? How can we kind of simplify him? How can we just kind of regain him as the hero? And the second writers group I want is to craft a Whoniverse with its own logic, map it out, come up with its own internal rules and all the rest of it. Now, that's not with every monster the Doctor's faced since 1963, because that would just be a stupid task. I mean, the main protagonists, where do the Cybermen operate within the Whoniverse? Where do the Daleks operate? Is Skaro still there or not? Let's just establish these things. Gallifrey, etc., Sontarans. A bit like the frontier in space was really clear. Draconia was there, Earth was there, and there was a boundary where, the Master was, making hay. So basically, 2 writers' rooms, you've only got a year and a bit or something to actually really attack these 2 objectives. You'll still maybe have an overall producer who is working with those. Right, let's see if we're happy with that so far. Okay, but it's got to be time-locked because we mean business. Now, this is where we hit our first controversy, because with every choice I make, people will push back. But go with me for a moment, and then you can offer your alternatives. Paul McGann. I picked David Tennant overused. No. I'm not picking my favorite doctors. Should it be Davison? Should it be Tom Baker, who comes back as the curator too? No. Somebody who has already been established as the Doctor, but has been completely underused. Still looks like roughly he did in the Doctor Who movie in the original time, and has got so much more potential to give. Has gravitas, good voice, and actually knows the characterization. Yep. So I'm going with that for now, but also because it takes away the controversy. If you find another actor, is it male? Is it female? Is it black or is it white? Is it Chinese? Let's just take that away. McGann would cover that because he's already established and he's been underused, right? So I'm going with that. I'm giving some flexibility on the scheduling in. It'll be about 8 p.m. It has to be a bit later. I think we have to push for this. Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays. Now, Chibnall went for Sundays, and I know because it was Chibnall, some of us go, oh my God, no way. I had that same feeling. Friday nights could work though. Friday nights have always been quite a family night. So I think as long as it's slotted around the weekend where you can, if you want to, pull this together. Now, I've got to be practical. Paul McGann knows his place, and we are trying to relaunch, re-establish Doctor Who. We're not trying to kind of just go flying into the, stratosphere with the Shooty Gatwa Doctor. So let's just say this for now. A serialization of 5 episodes for 1 year. Now, I prefer more. The year after, it'll have bought them time to introduce a new Doctor. Now, I'll come to that in a moment. So with McGann, we've got 5 episodes, but it's actually one story. So you get 4 cliffhangers. Classic Doctor Who. Now, because it's a one-off year, this one, there might be slightly longer episodes. Yeah, just to establish it. But, you could argue that one. Right, go with me. Oh, yeah, sorry, I need to stick with that one. Once he's established, hopefully, by following certain rules and that, what we should do, the next trick is this. So the final cliffhanger or the final episode of the 5 is a multi-Doctor episode. Oh, I don't like them anymore. Too many people. I've already said I don't want any numbered Doctors. Oops. No, I'm going to be very clear on this. If I was the showrunner or the producer, I would say, right, 4 episodes of Paul McGann getting on with an adventure. Bumps into, crosses with another Doctor, a Doctor we've never seen before, already regenerated. So we don't know the number and which one they're from. And neither am I ever going to mention it. This is a numberless Doctor. We're going to have to say to the media, no more do I want to know this is Doctor number 17, Doctor number 22. It kills it. I think it diminishes it and devalues it. This is the Doctor, the definitive article. So Paul McGann's Doctor, who we all know is the 8th, will bump into a Doctor from the future, and that finishes that story off. And then it launches the next season when we will have 26 episodes, 30 minutes long, with the new Doctor who's kind of been given the torch relay baton almost by a Doctor not regenerating into them, but recognizing them. Okay, so that's kind of some thinking going on there, right? Okay, one thing that we've kind of touched at since 1963, but has been forgotten, and I think they're missing the point of it. Now all people waffle on about is the TARDIS has a blooming jukebox, and it has discotheque lighting and some ramps. I think we need to get back to this is a spaceship, for God's sake. But I'm going even more heavy on this one. The TARDIS has to be a death trap. This TARDIS has been bust, has been doing everything, has been kind of spinning around stars. It's been going into the crucible furnace. This TARDIS has been bashed about. And I think we should respect that. Therefore, this TARDIS is now a faulty wired death trap. We could even kill a companion in the TARDIS. It's dangerous. It's random. They don't know what they're doing with it half the time. And half the time, he really needs desperately elements to fix it. You could have an episode where basically the TARDIS does actually just fail to kind of function in any way that's helpful. Oxygen a lot. So I think the fact that the running thread all the time in the future is that the TARDIS is extremely dangerous and unpredictable takes us back to that kind of, we're on edge. What is this all about? The other thing I want is, and I'll go bigger here quick because there's a lot of details here, the tone and the genre and the style of the show. Now, this is one of the main things we really are concerned about. Definitely it has to be darker, much more mysterious, Doctor enigmatic, unpredictable. It has to go for the scares. No more soap opera, no more fantasy, no more aping a big budget USA program. No fourth walls. Take yourself seriously. Focus on the uniqueness of the format. I want experimental music. No more bombast. I've liked a lot of Murray Gold's tunes, but we've had it now. I now want this to be extremely out there. You know, Delia Derbyshire made a name for herself by being out there. You know, the Sea Devils music was out there. We need to go back to that. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you think, what the hell's that? We need to be on the cutting edge. And of course, I don't want any more tunnel effects. We all know our favorite credits, sequences, and everything. We want a mind-blowing introduction to each episode of Doctor Who where nobody knows how the hell you did it. Yeah? And bottom line is, we are going to be scaring the kids. That's the whole point of the program. A few more rules. We go forward. No callbacks, no old adversaries, no monsters. Now, that's going to be for a set period. You have to establish a show again. It's becoming fan fiction. And whether you like a certain moment when somebody appears again, there's an awful lot more we hate. So I'm sorry, we're going to have no old adversaries, no monsters, no nothing. Use your imagination, use your sci-fi, stop being a lazy bones. The companion-doctor relationship is extremely unequal. Let's get that back. None of this kind of, they can give, give a bit of crap back to the doctor and all the rest of it. Yeah, they might have a bit more modern dialogue and all the rest of it. But no. The doctor's the boss. As I said, no doctor numbers, no magic, no sonic screwdriver, no psychic paper, no overt messaging, no gods, right? The lot of that. Hopefully you're buying into that for now. Nearly there, folks, and then we'll have a good damn discussion about this. One of the things that has made us desperate to have to get a streamer like Disney and all the rest of it is because of the need for a high budget, because of all the sets. We waste all those sets for a 45-minute episode. This is all because of RTD's obsession with, we can't do serialization. Well, we can. We need to get back to limited sets to build that claustrophobia. And so I'm going to go back to type. The Doctor's stuck with this death trap TARDIS. They haven't a clue what the hell's going on half the time. They can be trapped. They can be marooned. Sometimes the TARDIS really needs a long haul. Sometimes something else happens. Sometimes it crash lands. Curse of Peladon on the edge. All the usual stuff. A base, a colony, a mine, an expedition, a spaceship, a village, a liner, that sort of thing. Limited, no Armageddon, no flux, the universe getting blown up. None of that nonsense, because it doesn't work, and we don't need the CGI for it. The plot unravels slowly, and I want a linear format. I've got that spelt wrong there, I went too fast. Linear format, as Peter Purvis said. Subplots, world building, key scenes. Who remembers and loves little moments when Joe Grant is talking to the Doctor over some wine and cheese? When you allow your characters to breathe. If you allowed that, you'd get Jago and Lightfoot. You'd get them, Sabalong Glitz. You'd suddenly get those lovely little touches that modern era, where are they? We've got to get back to that. Because we're missing out on so many lovable characters. So, in essence, and I'll just see where you stand on a few things there. That's where I stand on my manifesto, okay? Now, I'm willing to answer questions and all the rest of it, and also go through some other possibilities. I haven't said every single thing. So, let's start off, folks. Yeah, where do we stand on this? Which areas do you want to push back on? Which bits have I not actually clarified enough for you? Because I really do think sometimes we need to get out there and we need to start to produce YouTube streams that says, this is what you should be doing, BBC. And one day they're going to see one of them. And one day they're going to go, well, why are we fighting this? So I haven't been able to see what you're saying in the stream yet. I hope you appreciate that because I've been trying to kind of outline my format. So if you can please kind of start asking your questions or saying the areas that you're a little bit unsure about and you want us to clarify, and or give us your ideas too. That's the point of this saloon now. This is us starting to say, we're taking charge. We are not the noise. We actually have some very constructive ideas. We are not, by the way, I hope you've noticed in my manifesto, I haven't tried to suffocate the program and the writers by saying, the timeless children, this must happen. I mean, I've also written down, what I have written down is Gallifrey doesn't exist, it seems. I haven't got time as this new showrunner yet to say, let's go into all that detail. Let's just leave it. Like I said, park it. If he thinks he's the only Time Lord, all to the good. He can't go back. You see, if the TARDIS is a death trap, he might be tempted to go back and swap it for another Type 40. I know that would never happen, but you know what I mean. I need to take all that logic away. He is stuck. So basically, Gallifrey being destroyed or whatever happened to it, we will leave for now. And one day a writer will come up with a genius idea. I'm not going to force it. It's not going to be part of my story arc. That's fan fiction. So Timeless Children, you can walk. Flux, you can walk. Gallifrey, you can clear off. Cyberlords, you can clear off. I couldn't give a toss. We're going forward. I want you to scare the kids. I want the Doctor to be enigmatic. The companion gets themselves into bother half the time. It's an unequal relationship. The TARDIS is a death trap. But the stories will only start once the writers' rooms have established a few key elements. And one of them is that this world, this Whoniverse is mapped out so that we don't keep breaking some of the, logic traps and all the rest of it. I think it's to have a clarity of, if the Sontarans have millions of clones, where do they operate with the cyber race? We just need a few things like that sorted out, because it's been going on for 62 years. And I think it's important that we start to pull it together. Okay, here we go. Mr. Matt, never got the romance stuff. Doctor Who was about a father figure or an older brother. I don't want to know about their sex lives. Take me somewhere. Battles between good and evil, and sometimes think. Hopefully, my manifesto would give writers the chance to do that. Bobby D75. The first New Who story I liked was The Unquiet Dead. I thought of it as an updated version of the Hinchcliffe Fever. It was I had it right tone and everything, but it had elements of soap opera, didn't it? The most important bits in it was Gwen with Rose, sisters. Yeah, all right. You also had the other moment where basically probably the best bit was the pre-credit sequence, and that's become a cheat. Why are we depriving Doctor Who fans of a great episode 1? They're the greatest episodes of each story. The mystery, the what's going to happen, the anticipation, the tension, the unknown. How dare you deprive them of that, RTD? No, back to that. Let's enjoy our episodes 1s. If it's going to be a 5-episode series with Paul McGann, let's have a fantastic where are they, what they're doing, what's happened to the TARDIS, that sort of thing. Sonny Waffles, good to see you. The TARDIS Death Trap arc sounds fun and sci-fi. It could go on forever. That's what happened with the classic era. It was random. He landed. He didn't know. He hadn't plotted his navigation device when they took off quickly from Earth. And from then on, we had a problem. I mean, come on. Don't overcomplicate this. Just give the writers the rules and the framework, and they will do it. So I'm glad you like that. As I've based Ivor, I still like some aspects of the Cartmel master plan. I feel adding the mystique of what the Doctor's hand was in the deployment of the Hand of Omega, I believe a good long game could be made of that. I'm not going to bar it. It wasn't my favorite era, but that doesn't mean I'm not God. We're not having gods. What we're having is, look, there's good aspects in all of it. Cartmel was trying to bring back the mystery and the enigma, especially the real enigma of the Doctor. He did seem much more dark and Machiavellian. Well, I applaud that. Yeah, we need that. We really do need that. Where basically his companion's always on edge about what the hell's he up to. I just didn't like some of the, just like in the New Who era, we do the Space Jesus stuff and you think, oh, go away. I didn't like how they were pushing that I called them the Space Womble, didn't I? That he's left the Hand of Omega over there. He's halfway through a chess game over here. I don't know. I wanted a little bit more cohesiveness there. But the truth is, Andrew Cartmel didn't finish the master plan. So there is an element of, I have to be fair. But yes, I can see where you're coming from. Neville, I think you're on the right track, Brendan, but I would simplify the writing team to produce. Yeah, listen, I'm pretending I'm producer and script editor, and we have 2 writing teams. The 2 writing teams I'm saying is to start the whole thing off. Once you've crafted the Whoniverse, And once you've established what we want to do with the Doctor, you would actually obviously join those writers' rooms. So you've got a good, strong writers team who have spent a year and a half just discussing every concept of Doctor Who over the years. So they've been firing off each other. You are the producer, there's a script editor, and we start to feed off their ideas, and off we go. That's the plan. Gary Jones, what if the TARDIS was like the One Ring or the DeLorean time machine, something dangerous to use? Well, that's what I mean. Death trap. It's, Tegan walking around the TARDIS in Logopolis could have been lethal. I know it was scary because you heard the Master laughing and stuff like that, and she was getting freaked out by the size of it, and TARDIS is dematerializing. But think of how spooky you could make it. You really don't want to be a stowaway in our TARDIS of the future. And come on, we all have to do MOTs every year. Come on, it's an old car. It's a banger. It's been burned. It's been blown up. How many times has it fallen down a mountainside? Come on. Let's respect that. It might be a brilliant spaceship, but it's been battered around. Therefore, things are now really starting to fuse and short. I think that's brilliant. And there's no manual. Great. Thomas McCarthy. The TARDIS should be broken. We need a Doctor who isn't necessarily young, more like a grandfather again. He needs charisma like Michael Hordern had. I think the fans have been so abused they won't trust it. So, how do we all feel about Paul McGann just to be a safe pair of hands and to give him a go, to give him a chance to have a season? I'm saying 5 episodes. If 8 episodes was available regarding budget, I would have it. Okay. But obviously the new Doctor, age-wise, sex-wise, I'm going to sit back for a second. And the writers team, I'm not going to tell the writers team what the Doctor should be. They can come with ideas, and obviously as producer and script editor, you make the final call, but you'll have loads of things thrown at you. Right. Cliff Maxwell. Love the broken TARDIS concept. Let's just put it up here for everybody, just so they understand what as a regulator. But another baseline should be the web of time. Structure and danger there too, and can't change one line. Cliff, I agree with you. This is where one of the writers' rooms, when they're mapping out the Whoniverse, not rigidly to death, but there's quadrants, or there's a problematic bit near Draconia. They just establish, minefields and problems and war zones, and they just establish things there for our little broken TARDIS to go flying into. And so I think that's where you can add your web of time and problems there. 3-dimensional chess. They set out the Whoniverse, and you can have different levels of time zone, whatever. But this is where you should enjoy getting loads of science fiction writers together to chew the cud and really start to work out, how can we do this? Michael Nemo, you're a good lad. You're a lovely lad. Thank you very much. Because the Who Pets, you could say, we need a new mic. Maybe the non-numbered Doc is fugitive. Sacrilege? Well, it would be, because he wouldn't. I don't think I'm going to allow the fugitive Doctor in my future Doctor Who. I'm sorry. Sorry, Joe Martin. No. I just want them. I know what you mean, though. The fugitive Doctor, we don't know what number she is. But let's keep it like that. And certainly don't you dare say she's before number 1. Do you know what I mean? I can live with, he is a new Doctor. We don't know their number. Do we care? Does the Doctor say what? Look, I know they've said sometimes, oh, I'm 4 now and all the rest of it. But I think we can get rid of that trite stuff. Chris Chatfield, Barry Letts and Terence Dix had it right. Ditch the master and the unit, the clanners and environmental subtext. Let's get back to basics. Giant maggots and drashigs. Basically, any puppets. Look, science fiction writers will know exactly what to do. They'll know how to scare people. They'll know how to kind of give us high concept at the same time, so the mums and dads can be happy. They can feel challenged. It feels edgy. The 8 p.m. onwards is important because the kids have to step up. The kids aren't watching Space Babies no more. The kids aren't watching Jinx Monsoon no more. The Doctor doesn't turn into a base. No, this is the step up. You have to you have to be thinking, gosh, this is a grown-up show and I'm allowed to watch it, that sort of thing. And that happens on a Friday night and Saturday night particularly, which is why I'm saying that. I think Doctor Who's home is the weekend. We had the Davison years in midweek and the McCoy years, but it's a better slot. But I think it's better to be flexible. Do you want Doctor Who on Saturday night at 8 o'clock when it'll go against Britain's Got Talent, The Voice, the this, the that, all the celebrity crap? I think Saturday night has turned so light entertainment. Doctor Who's out of the kilter with it. So I'm increasing the flexibility for the control of BBC One. Garbage, more scenes with the TARDIS like it used to be going wrong. Come on, we're all Doctor Who fans. I think that's exactly the point. That's what I think anyway. DeMorpin, McGann is the only thing I've ever seen the majority of fandom agree about. Hence why I'm doing it. I know I don't want the next step, if we're going to save Doctor Who, to be controversial, but neither do I want us to go, oh, let's do David Tennant again. No, let's not. Let's not. Let's approach Paul McGann and give him a great offer and say, you've never been given the service you should have. You've got loads of potential. You still blooming look like you did in 96. Come on, get on board this death trap of a TARDIS and have some fun and have your time as the 8th Doctor. But it will do us a service as well because it'll re-energize the show. There's no controversy. Nobody's going to say, who the hell are you? Why is he black? Why is he white? Why is he... Nobody's going to say anything. It's the Doctor. And then we've got time to go recruiting and finding a new Doctor. We've got time to set everything up. So basically, we've got a year or two of the production and the broadcasting of Paul McGann on the back of these two writers' rooms. And then we are also in parallel finding the new Doctor. I think that's kind of part for the course. Peter Harrington. McGann would be a new Doctor to many and a revelation to new viewers. To us, an old Doctor, somewhere in the middle, he would be great TV Doctor. We've heard him on Big Finish. You've heard him in various things. He's got a fantastic voice. He's charismatic. Boy, do we need that now. The Peter Venkman fan site. I've always thought McGann should get his chance, but I'd spend more time with him. That's an option. I mean, if we took longer to find a new actor, we do have to find a new actor. I mean, you need to build up a succession thing, but, you know, we could, you know, flesh out this middle period, this interregnum, this we all love talking about with this nostalgic kind of glint in our eye about the wilderness years, only in retrospect. We might always talk about the interregnum Doctor. We could just talk about this time when Paul McGann came back and it just was fun. The broken TARDIS will be the perfect opportunity to bring back the primary control room and all that lovely Rosewood. Hey, you get on my writers team. You come up with the ideas. I'm going to say no to nothing at the moment because I think writers need that flexibility. All the rules are set out, but then let them fly. Thomas McCarthy, I'm fine with McGann. He's charismatic, loves the character, and he can act. The problem isn't the actors, it's the showrunner and the writers. Well, vote for me. I'm in. Somebody like me, please. Just somebody who's allowing a structure and has respected that we need serialization, that we must scare the kids, that there must be some internal logic. And doesn't have this kind of I am the god of Doctor Who concept about them. No. This is, as everybody's desperately saying, Brendan, we're worried about this producer, script editor. You know, yeah, it's a collegiate spirit. And you've noticed I've got two writers' rooms to start with. You can have fresh blood in there, young blood in there, some old hacks in there who've done it many, many times on TV. And they all bounce ideas off each other. You pick the best of, and then you structure your season. Come on. This is what it should be like. And then you're building up succession. Then you're building up experience. And there's no risk involved because they're all working together. Duncan, I feel that the episode should go like Sarah Jane Adventures, doing 2 times 25 minutes per story. The 45-minute is getting tight. I think it's dead. Dead in the water. Let's just say that now. I think the BBC need clarity because I think they are clutching at straws. Jess, who's pushing back on me, so she's giving me a slight slapped wrist. I don't think we should get too hung up on the TARDIS. Yes, but no. The main storylines have to take present. No, you do understand, don't you? What I'm saying is that's just within the format. It was always in the format before, but I agree with you. Every story wasn't, oh, let's just bounce around the TARDIS. What I mean is, since 63, he couldn't quite predict where he was landing. And then sometimes the TARDIS struggled to land, Curse of Peladon on a ledge, stuff like that. But if you added, since it's now a 62-year-old show, some jeopardy, some tension. So in every blooming story, there's a reason why they land, crash land, have to rush off, don't know where they're landing, can't save their companion on the other side of the planet by doing this neat maneuver. Come on. Marco Polo would have been crap if the Doctor kept getting in the TARDIS and went, I'm going to land in that room. I'm going to land on the back of that camel. No, let's take all that away. You're taking the adventure away. Look at the Romans with William Hartnell. If the TARDIS could have gone to the Colosseum, gone there, it would have killed it. And I think you're taking away that hint of the epic nature of Doctor Who sometimes by the TARDIS just being too neat. But I know what you're saying, and I'm with you on that. Eastland Burkholder, in the universe, saying is what are you saying here? I'm trying to get in the universe. Saying is unsafe to dominate because TARDIS safety mechanism are not functioning. Well, yes, we can do that. Could do it safely, but not until the TARDIS is repaired. Okay, so we're going along with the TARDIS idea. Looks as though Paul McGann's getting a lot of kind of push as well. Lee Smith. We all think the Doctor controls the TARDIS. Maybe the TARDIS controls the Doctor. Maybe Lee Smith, I'm sick of that kind of, it's a sentient being and it feels like a woman. And New Who has poisoned and soiled a lot of things and not for the better. It's always sexual. It's always this. It's a bloody machine, for Christ's sake. It's an old machine. Old machines break. There's your fun. If it's got different dimensions held together in the TARDIS, as was explained by Chris Boucher and other writers over the classic period, there's boundaries within the TARDIS which could get dangerous. There's so many possibilities that Logopolis and moments like that when Christopher H. Bidmead extended the TARDIS for a while, zero rooms and all that, we could have more fun. Let's have a look. I'm just looking for a few other ideas here. Boomer Doug wasn't convinced I could relaunch Doctor Who, I don't think. Wasn't sure I could do it. Relaunch Doctor Who by assuming no one has watched it before. Gets the casual viewers on board. Fans will follow if it's good. I totally agree. Fan fiction is out. No Daleks, no Cybermen, no Gallifrey, no this, no that. Nothing. Stop referring to the past because that is a writer being lazy. Establish yourself as a writer with a new idea, scare the kids, use the format and the mapped universe you've got, and use your imagination. But stop leaning on great writers of the past, great stories from the past. Establish yourself and prove yourself and go forward properly. I think it's time Doctor Who got its kind of, it got itself back together, got its energy back, got its confidence back. And we realized, whoever's working on this program, that this is such a unique beast that now we've got a nice firm foundation of broken TARDIS, a Whoniverse all established. We've changed the format. We've serialized it again. We've got our tone and dark tone back. Now we've got that confidence back. Come on, let's fly. Do we need the bloody Daleks? Not yet. That sort of thing. I think it's about time. Of course, I want to see these things are back. I'm a Doctor Who fan, but we can't keep relying on them. We just can't. Jess, the fans need to get invested in new future Doctor Who with better merchandise, better characters, competitions and games, a decent Doctor Who gaming experience. Do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to make the BBC fill their pants here. Shall we forget about merchandise for a while? Because something tells me that RTD and Stephen Moffat and that for a while have been too obsessed with it. Make a good program. Push your writers to the limit. Get their imaginations going. And from that, we might discover, oh, that creature's great. The kids like the sound of it. Let's get it made. I think we're going in the wrong order. Sometimes, you think part of the Star Wars franchise, we're doing that just so we can sell that spaceship and sell that cute little Ewok. Let's establish, are they relevant? Are they important? Are they worth being in our story first? So I'm actually pushing back and saying, I'm going to ignore, as this new producer, any concept about merchandise. Merchandise will happen if people ask for it. And I think it's always preferred in that early year. You aren't ready for the success. They weren't ready in 76, 77 for the Star Wars success. The toys came later. Wouldn't it have been a disaster if you had all the toys set up and it just didn't take off? And you can never predict what the kids like. So I'm actually thinking, we've got to stop thinking like fans. As Boomer Doug said, we've got to start thinking about the casual viewer. The casual viewer will make or break this. If it looks as though we've put something in because it's cutesy or it's this or it's that, and it'd make a great pencil case, and come on, how cynical are we? When we saw the 15th Doctor's sonic screwdriver, we all said something naughty. But then the second thing is, we all said, this is just merch. What do I say when I go to a football match? Why have they changed the colour shirt again? Why have they changed that stripe again? Money. And we've all cynical about it. So shall we get off that hobby horse with Doctor Who just for a little moment? I think the BBC can survive for a year or two on the back of the classics at the moment without New Who being obsessed about, can we sell all this junk? I'm up for this. Neville, definitely need to focus on science fiction concepts, and they're all out there. And you can have your little bits of messaging in, but the messaging is, because you take your time over a serialized story, you've got subplots and interesting characters who can actually create sympathy and antipathy and engagement and pathos. You don't have to go, gosh, we've only got 10 minutes left of this episode. I don't think we've rammed the message home. Birth control's important. Just back off. We've all got a brain. When I see something happen, I'm going, it's a shame they didn't do birth control. Come on. Stop being such a patronizing idiot, RTD. We do have a brain. Joe Abercrombie as head writer needs a fresh approach. Someone with the ability to ditch the baggage of the past. You can hear what I'm saying, Raymond Williams. I am a Doctor Who fan, but we have got to be disciplined here. Basically, take the character back to the Hartnell Doctor, a mysterious alien, and off we go. He's unpredictable. Sometimes he's unlikable. You make the kids be chuffed that they're staying up after 8 o'clock with this adult program that scares you. And when you're watching it, the hero is a little bit dodgy and you're not quite sure how to take him. That's what gets kids thrilled. They don't want CBBS. Lee Smith is saying, what about Sean Pertwee, Brendan? Well, you can join us for the discussion about who replaces Paul, follows Paul McGann, so to speak. Julianne Goodwin, let's not do David Tennant again. I concur. Chris Eccleston, I don't know if that moment's gone. It's a shame. It's a shame. I'm just not sure if he'd ever touch it like with a badge pole. Maybe if I'm fired up, he might like the northern bit, Let's have a look. Doctor Who fan, we need bad robots to fight a new K9 for the Doctor and lots of new sci-fi toys. Back in your box. I'm saying no to you. No merchandise for a year. We're going to be strict. We're going to be really, really disciplined. I want none of my writers starting to think, I could make money out of this. No way. Naughty step. No way. Get back to, is it a good story? If it's not a good story, I couldn't give a toss. From that, you get Chameleon. Paul Richards, bring back a darker tone with the Androgums. Let them eat their way through the human race. Let's go for it. There's a possible sequel there. Simon Mills, Paul McGann told me at a con one time he's ready anytime to come back. Right. Where's the phone? I can do it now. All I need is the power, and I'll phone him and let's get him back. Then we need the writers. Basically, I'll collect half of you in the thread. If we all went to the pub and we were locked in, if we were locked in for a few weeks, the ideas might go a bit, but you know what I mean? We could just really sort this out. But you'll probably find I'm a pain in the neck because I'll keep saying, no, that's fan fiction. Back off. Stop it. You're assuming too much. Casual viewers, as Boomer Doug would say. Jess, you have to be careful. Paul might be worth considering, but will raise a lot of issues. Not happy on my part. Tell me why, Jess, and I'll try and keep an eye on when your reply comes. I think he's the most uncontroversial choice, and he's also established. He's very underused, unlike David Tennant. I mean, is David Tennant coming back as the 10th, the 14th? And then there's all his politics now. You know, there's so many issues there. It's beyond belief. Right. Okay. We've got disagreement. The sense fee is good at that. Yeah. We do like disagreement. And Michael Nemo, I'll get to your super chat in a moment. I'm going slowly. It must be here. Right. Okay. Ivor, I respectfully disagree, Brendan. Everyone would breathe a collective sigh of satisfied, optimistic relief if those doors were to open and Paul walked out. Oh, okay, you might be disagreeing with somebody else. If Paul walked out, I'd be blooming happy myself. Cliff Maxwell, I do feel that the Tennant Shooty issue needs to be explained and resolved, if not corrected for, but this eighth idea creates a neutral moment, I'm tactical, that could fill a gap before returning to the rest. I think we fans sometimes want to solve the Flux, the Timeless Children, Gallifrey, this, that, and that. And we do need a new producer or showrunner to feel brave enough to walk into our world and feel as though they can take the program in a certain direction, which might be a surprising one. I just think if we bog them down like albatrosses around their necks, no. So, Cliff, I know what you're saying, but this is for the writers' room to deal with in the next step. The first step is establish Doctor Who. And the fast way of doing it is a respected, recognizable doctor who knows the job and is already established as the 8th Doctor. There's no argument about, oh, where does he fit in? That's already sorted out. We saw him regenerate and we've seen him at Night of the Doctor regenerate. It's all signed and sealed. It's brilliant. We know where he fits in. It's just he's been very underused, but we're recognizing him. And I think the writers then can feed off new doctors and where we go next. Mr. Matt, I'm inspired by all this chat to do some artwork related to or send it to me, Mr. Matt. We all want to get excited by Doctor Who. The talk and discourse at the moment is all about we need to cancel, we need to reboot. And I'm part of that, I know. We're so unhappy. We're so cynical. But I think we need to get on the front foot and we need to say this is how it should be. We need to be extremely clear, but not over-cluttered and give people space to go, well, I'm an aspiring sci-fi writer. I can live within that framework because it's loose enough for me to get a handle on it. And you don't want it too predictable. If I have too many rules and regulations and dates and timelines, in the end, I will suffocate it. It'll be a stillbirth. Don't want that at all. So that's important. I know there's loads of ideas here. It's quite hard to do. I'm full of ideas, and you are too. And I'm trying to keep up with what people are saying. Now, what we're saying here, Michael Nemo, you're a generous chappy. Thank you, and I will keep saying thank you. One of my favorite Big Finish audios was Davros captures McGann and companions. Tells him that Davros had captured him years earlier and made him forget a whole set of adventures and companions. So tragic and evil. Is that a bit Dr. Donna, the meta crisis? Because I really couldn't cope with that moment when he erased her memories. I know you're saying that was so tragic and evil, but it's like, yeah, I know. We've got the Matrix. Now, I know we don't know where Gallifrey is, but, you know, we can have the Doctor guessing in some explained bit of dialogue somewhere that maybe the Matrix is fragmented and blah, blah. You know, there's a way around it. Quantum, we could do a class action lawsuit, period, unfortunately. The plaintiff's lawyers get the bulk of the money and you would probably get 10 cents. I mean, what, you mean take on Bad Wolf? Should we just take him on? Should we just do a coup? Boomer Doug, Paul McGann lands in the Victorian era with a great and scary villain, lots of atmosphere, minimum special effects, and cliffhangers beautiful. What's it? There's one sorted out. Peter Harrington, 1960s Hartnell each week. The kids would have to be so excited. Every week, a new adventure with an expanded story. It kept those kids watching, never really knowing when one story would end. So exciting. We've been told too much as well. I am quite disciplined, and I have to say, you don't give much away. I respect J&T. He must have been so tempted. Earthshock was a surprise. We need to get back to that. Too many trailers, too much talk, too much waffle and hyperbole. No, you've got a mysterious doctor and a mysterious showrunner, and I'm sorry, I'm going to, and you do have to have balls of steel. I am not going to flog this around every TV program and give you morsels and clues all the time. You want to watch it? You watch it. If you don't watch it, I lose my job. I'll take that risk. We need that edge again. Simon Mills, a bit like Sliders then, the device is broken, so they can't get back to their world and keep having to travel through parallel universes. You apply that to the TARDIS, you don't know where and when, and you don't know if it will work. You don't know if it will, and I'm just making stuff up. We jettisoned the Zero Room. It's obviously got borders and frontiers within the spaceship. You know, when your own car, when you get bad wiring, when something fuses, when something goes wrong, it sometimes causes a whole kind of ripple effect. This is a very complex machine, and you're dematerializing. You're sometimes going through star fields at speed. Sometimes you hit disruption. Somebody might be trying to chase you or track you, and you're pushing your machine to the limit. The jeopardy's all there, and something misfires. A writer comes up with a new problem. They land or crash land. They get injured. I mean, let's not. Come on, let's get there. I want a companion who's kind of almost gripping the sides of this, going, "I'm scared shitless of this." I mean, come on, and the kids will be going, "Oh." And I do think along the way we need to kill a companion in the TARDIS, as in the TARDIS, by the machine going wrong, kill somebody. Whoa. This is a dark show. This is a dangerous show. You're lucky to be staying up, you little kiddie, to watch this. That's what we need. Seriously. In Classic Who, you go straight into the adventure, but in New Who, it's bogged down in too much soap plots. Yeah, let's get moving. Listen to me. I haven't plotted out a script yet, but that TARDIS thing is getting me going. Something goes wrong and bang. You know, the doctor can see. I mean, something's severed the arm off the companion or something. They need to land somewhere. They can't be faffing around, doing a song and dance saying, well, what cosplay are we doing this week? We haven't got time. We've got jeopardy straight away. Let's go back to Planet of the Daleks. The doctor's injured. He's in a coma. Land. Oh my God, what's this planet? No time for Joe Grant going, do you know what? Have I got the hots for Captain Yates? I'm not sure. No time. Lee Smith, I'd like to see an episode exploring the TARDIS, finding strange areas and life forms. That's for season 2 or 3, matey. No, I'm thinking, let's keep away from... I see what Jess is saying. It's a problematic TARDIS, but keep the mystery going for as long as we can. We want this to have longevity. So I know our fan instincts are going, I'd like to just do that. No, not yet. I'd like to just... No. I'd like to go to Gallifrey. Bog off. Just really keep people salivating, going, wow, I'm dying to see this doctor meet the Daleks. Well, you might have to wait 2 series. Hey, when we were kids, I had to wait 5 years for the Cybermen. I had to wait 4 years for the Daleks. I think we need to get back to that. Jess, there are a number of decent writers out there, more than capable of writing future Doctor Who. Yeah, why has he not asked them? I agree with you. Garbage, how about an alien companion? I think it's time for us to actually get away from identity politics and all the little issues. So if that's one way of doing it, Garbage, I would entertain the idea. I am always aware of what RTD did say in 2005 when he said, the casual viewer doesn't really care about this planet Zog, and whether the Zog internal politics is going to be a problem. That is still something you have to cover, otherwise it does turn into sci-fi babble. Thomas McCarthy, if it's to have a menace again, the TARDIS must be a safe space a child's imagination can hide in. It must hum again, bigger in the inside, but not an airport terminal. That's what I have to say. This is what fired me up. But I do agree with Jess. It's not the whole story. It's just the backdrop. It's the excuse. They don't know where they're going. They don't know if they'll survive. We don't know. You do need to kill a companion early on. Yeah. We need to kill a companion where they touch something or part of the TARDIS breaks and it's lethal. And no longer will you say to the doctor, excuse me, I have my issues. Don't you dare. I'm going to be like your sister. They'll be going, doctor, what can I touch? Where can I sit? You really need to get onto that. Come on. And the doctor hasn't got time to go, do you know what? We're going to play dress-ups this week. He's more bothered about, if I stand there, does this do this? Come on. Can we have Jeopardy, please? I think we're all big enough to cope with this. So, TARDIS travels, yeah, I know. It has to be cliffhangers, and that's why I said early doors on this one. If I'm going in the wrong direction, it's because I'm just dim. Yes, we have to have cliffhangers back. And actually, they're missing the point. How many programs now do serialize? RTD, you're the great TV expert. Yeah, you've been lazy. You came back and you've been lazy. Oh, I'll do the same formula as 20 years ago. Will I do any self-reflection and self-evaluation and self-criticism? Will I hell? Really? 20 years? Are you saying that Doctor Who 1963 to 1983 didn't tweak, didn't change slightly? That's like Verity Lambert coming back in 1983 and saying, I'm doing exactly the same. She wouldn't do that. RTD has just done that to us. Peter Harrington. It was 7 years from Troughton to Pertwee. No Daleks. Yeah, I know. It's because I was a little bit kind of not here then, but I know what you mean. I'm more 70s. There were great stories, but always make them wait. Day of the Daleks to me was a revelation. I'd not seen them on TV as a kid, and wow, all three of them. Wow. Remember, we don't need the numbers. We need our imagination to have space and not to be conflicted by ridiculous speeches all the time. I think the Doctor needs an outfit he wears every week, instantly recognizable. I didn't add that as a rule, and I should have. I'll add it, right? Thank you for that, because I totally agree with you. Let's stop the cosplay, the superficial, the vanity, the diva. That is not the Doctor, right? Showrunner here, it's not happening. Matrix Lord, the 15th Doctor Sonic is shit. I concur. It's not happening because I'm banning it. We're doing a Pteroleptals Part 3 visitation. Nah, burn it, blow it up. Oops. This TARDIS is lethal. The sonic screwdriver's bust. Think of it. Donna spilt all that coffee in and it blew the bloody thing up. And we're saying that this is a safe place to do some dancing with a jukebox. Get over yourself. It's a spaceship. Let's have a look. Jess, you don't want to have just one writer write a particular story. Some work well together to produce extras. That's what I'm going to encourage. I've said writer's room, and I mean it. The writer's room established the two things, as I said at the beginning, but then you don't say, bye-bye, you're now unemployed, and then keep trying to find new writers. There's an established team. Some will peel off because they'll want to do their own shows and stuff. It always happens. It's called success. Toby Whitehouse, etc. But you'll have a core. And people join the core, learn from the core. It's an apprenticeship, but there's an essence of it, and there's a clarity and there's a consistency there. And there'll be people who are kind of almost custodians. That's how it works. And that's why all of us talk about Terence Dicks and Barry Letts, and we talk about Robert Holmes and Philip Hinchcliffe. Because do you know what? They used to sit down and talk. Oh, I'm typing all night till 2 a.m. Yeah, maybe you should be talking till 2 a.m. Pebble Pot. I would use Gallifrey to explain that the Doctor has stolen a TARDIS and left. I would use this to explain that he has to patch the TARDIS over time, and this is why it's dangerous. There you go. We're on the money. We're starting to write stories. Raymond Williams, TARDIS needs new parts. The Doctor is constantly working on it, repairing and replacing parts. That's why, while on Earth, he's based it in a scrapyard. Spare parts. There you go. You see, we're motoring. This is all you needed. All you needed was a showrunner to start you off. Nobody's really pushed back on that. And that surprised me. But I think we all want the TARDIS to be slightly unreliable again, because that's where the adventure was. Lee Smith, we need a freaky actor as the Doctor. Let's not scare the kids too much. No, they're out there. We've probably not met them yet. DeMorpin, I like Eccleston, but yeah, maybe the moment's passed. We just need to get bouncing on it. We just need to get on it. This needs to land. Impact immediately. No time wasted. Jeopardy from the first second. What the hell are those graphics? No more tunnel. We all love a tunnel effect from different periods. The trouble is it's predictable. It's got one end then another. And it's safe. I want Doctor Who to look on edge out there, as it did in the 60s. What the hell were those lines and waves? What the hell was that music? We need to do something. We need to approach people who are going, I've not quite done this. You just need to take risks. And I think TV is too risk averse. They're obsessed with formula. Format is key, but the whole kind of vibe of what they do, the formula needs to be broken. Okay? Play safe all the time. I want to play safe. I want to play safe. I'd like to keep this job for a while, but if I'm sacked, I'm sacked. And I have to say, you have to be man enough to deal with that. I think too many people go, oh, I won't do that. I'll give the fans what they want. No, I won't. No. You're not getting what you want. You'll have to wait. Because we are going to establish that this is a hot program. And nobody is going to turn around and say, oh, Brendan, you brought the Daleks back and you did this and you did that. And actually, by the way, nobody's going to thank me, because as soon as you serve fan fiction, people will mourn. Let's be honest. If I brought the Daleks back and they were pink, or they were blue, or they were gold, or they were this, or they were that, we'll all argue about it. I'm not bringing them back. Not yet. The Master. Oh, is he too much like Ainley? Oh, he's too manic. Oh, he's too this. No, he's not coming back. No. Right? We are going forward. New Time Lords of the future we bump into. Let's invent a new Rani. Let's go forward. Farsight. A later time slot and a more adult feel is needed. Well, I said 8 o'clock because obviously you do want it at a point where the kids can still access it. I suppose at the weekend, some of time, it'll be 9 o'clock, but you do want the chance. I agree with you. But I want that aspiration. Dad, Mum, can I stay up to watch it? And the parents are going, oh God, this will get them quiet. That's what you want. Terrified Monk. Unless Paul walked out and the writing still sucked. I've missed a bit there, haven't I? I jump in to have a conversation. Thomas McCarthy, don't lock me into a pub to crunch it. I'm Irish and few would get out. Oh, the crack, though. Sonny Waffles, the only person better than Paul will be Eccleston. And if RTD and all the others are fired, game up. I know. I don't think it's that easy, though. That's a trouble, Sonny. I just don't think it's that easy. I think sometimes people don't. RTD should not have returned because the rule is never return. He's spoiled his legacy, really. But he did it. He's a man enough to actually make the decisions. But nah, there's the reason people say that. Don't go back. Pebble Pop. I would have fairly strict rules for the Doctor, like James Bond. Different actors can bring their own take, but the character of the Doctor has to stay the same. Yeah, there have to be certain rules within that. And that's why I said that I'm not going to be the god of Doctor Who, because that's too dangerous to have one fan or one writer saying it like RTD has. A team who will argue and say, but we need to be doing, and we will get somewhere. Then they present to the producer and script editor a few ideas and then we go forward. But I agree, there needs to be a clarity so new writers in the new series go with that. No longer do you go, well, let's just see what happens. Really? What show does that? Michael Nemo, my God, thank you. I say that last super chat as evidence that Big Finish is as imaginative as your manifesto is. It's Michael Nemo, make it your job to send me the best ones. I want to do a stream in the kind of medium future because Dwayne, who's one of our detoxers, who, as you know, does Sirens of Audio, obviously a great Big Finish fan. We do need to actually say, right, not only am I kind of not really au fait with Big Finish, but the point is there will be, as you're saying, lots of good ideas there. There's some crud, I'm sure, but there'll be some good stuff. Let's say, right, if you were in charge and you thought, let's plunder some of Big Finish, and it was a 6-story season, which top 6 Big Finish ones would you do? That's individual ones. And then my second question would be, is there within those lovely serialized ones, you know, like the War Doctor or Gallifrey or whatever, is there a season arc of one of the Big Finishes that would make a good arc for one season of Doctor Who? There you go. Have a think about that, because I'd love for you to come on or talk about it. Mr. Matt, 50%, a lot of shows and films won't work because of the music. We need someone who is totally out there and like the Sea Devils soundtrack. The Sea Devils soundtrack is a funny one, isn't it? I don't know if I really like listening to it, but it's so Doctor Who. And I think you have to take that risk. I know there's a lot of people who really like it because it's so different, but you would never have got Delia Derbyshire either if you wanted to play safe. Really, has Brendan? It will take a while, but I set to it, bud. Right? Okay, then we're on it. We're on it. Yep, as Peter Harrington says, yeah, F the flux and the timeless kid. We move on. We don't get bogged down. We don't bore our friends by saying blah blah blah. Ben Frost for composer, incredible, varied experimental composer. He did the soundtrack for Raised by Wolves, electronic yet organic, visceral compositions. I just want people who are imaginative. If that's one of them, show me your stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, go for it. Greg Campbell, a single throwaway line that retcons the Timeless Children would do wonders to get long-term fans who have walked to come back. It would show that this is a serious attempt to fix a show. I agree with you. When fans get in a room and we talk about how we'd retcon things, we try and do this. And I agree with you. Like when he in 2005, he came up with the phrase, the Time War. That covered an awful lot of cracks. But, I give you that, Greg. But I also think we need to stop going back over that, because there's an awful lot of brand new casual viewers who will join the gang. If you're saying, I know, but I left the show because of what they did in the Timeless Children and I want a reason to come back. I think if you saw a serious attempt in the future at going darker, more serious, gripping, engaging, thrill a minute, lots of jeopardy, it's doing what it's supposed to do, I think you'd just come back. And I would take that risk, you know? Cliff Maxwell. Oh, yeah, back to the 8th, stay neutral, but with the hopeful, far-reaching plan to correct in the future based on those writers' room rules. Yeah. Now, Cliff, you've got ideas, so if you can share some of them as we go. Sonny Waffles, Big Finish has a bunch of ideas and the writers that should be able to transition mediums. Lee Smith, no Daleks, Davros and Cybermen will be hard to pull off. And let's just leave it. Like I said, I don't want any hard decisions like that yet, because as soon as you say, let's bring Davros back, there's all the crap that's happened. And we need to actually just have time with these writers' rooms to slowly establish, what the hell do we do? Like you said, Greg Campbell, can we get away with a line in the future? Can we get away with some neat little trick? Daryl Joyce, I have a feeling the wider audience would roll their eyes at a new start with another returning Doctor. I do think a clean start is the best approach. I'm on board with everything else in your manifesto. That's fair comment. I know what you're saying, but as a few other people have said, he was only the Doctor once in 30 years ago. So he's not exactly a return. Oh, you know what I mean? He is a returning Doctor, of course he is. But if you get my gist, he was hardly in it. But he's a bloody good actor. And he's in our Whoniverse already. I haven't got the ratings with these slides, but the ratings for the specials seem to be 3.5 million more than what we're getting now because of the interest for David Tennant, who we knew pretty well. I don't think it's the same trick twice. I did think about this. I'll take your point, though. I'll take your point. Jongo, I just listened to Paul McGann's The Red Lady on Big Finish. Absolutely terrifying. This is what Doctor Who needs to be, not bloody haircuts in Africa. Yes, we'll be reviewing that. I like I said, is this Doctor Who does Desmond's? I'm trying to work out what it's going to be. Let's have a look. Let's see if there's a few other interesting ideas going out there. Yes, Paul Clark, no e-space twaddle. I think we need to just... I'd only allow the e-space twaddle. You know for a fact I've said recently I'm not into the e-space bit. But if it's been set up by the writers, they've got quadrants and areas and it's all been mapped out, it'll be part of a logic. If it's part of a system that's been set up with dribs of dialogue here and there, I could buy into the concept again, and it wouldn't be twaddle then. Like, oh, what we're going to do this year? This year we're going to do Key to Time. What we're going to do this year? We'll have the space. What we're going to do this year? None of that. There's a whole setup. Terrified Monk, you're really buying into this TARDIS now, aren't you? I'm fired up by it. You lose faith in your car. Maybe the Doctor's losing faith in the TARDIS. The moment we all laugh at the moment when Matthew Waterhouse, just before Adric dies, has to try and do that last chord. And because it was the second take and it had fired up the first time, you saw, and it wasn't acting at all. He was very scared of that moment. We want that with the Doctor and the companion. When he touches the TARDIS, when they open the doors, when they shut the doors, will the doors shut or will the alien get in? It's too safe. No force field. I didn't like that force field in 2005 where you can stand so far out. I don't like anymore that it translates so easily, the millions of languages out there. Let it break. Let it go faulty. We've all seen it on shows when people are tapping their earphones and stuff like that, and they're going, I'm not getting the messages. What's happening? Can you imagine when the Doctor goes, we're not getting translation? What's going on? Come on, this is where you fire it up. Peter Venkman, my idea for that would be that the companion's reading all that in the book and the Doctor walks over, looks over their shoulder at it and calls it utter trash. Whoa. There's a few stories going on between you. McGann or remake missing classic episodes with actors who can act and no deviation from the original script. It's just, I don't know if that would get controversial if they're old ones. I mentioned that ages ago and people went off the rocker. Jess, sorry, Brendan, but that to me is not family, children, sci-fi. What bit have I said? I can't keep up. I can't keep up with myself. Jess, tell us quickly. I'm trying to work out what have I said that's not... trying to think why... Anyway. Paul Richards, if we keep bringing back old Doctors, it's going to feel stale. I agree with Daryl Joyce. Get Julian Richards or Eddie Marson. Right, okay, so we have a debate going on here. Brendan hasn't quite sealed the deal. Jeremy, the TARDIS console room is far too big at the moment. It needs a smaller one, back to how it used to be. Daryl Joyce, Channel 4-5 isn't lumbered with the DEI issues that has undermined the BBC's output for the last 20 years. And hasn't Channel 5 been wonderful doing the 70s nights? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So what else have we got here from the GAN? Peter Harrington, a mere word, warp landing, a click of a TARDIS door. We're in for an adventure. Forget all the waffle. Yes. Brendan, like a teacher. No. I am what I am. Cliff Maxwell, I think the one thing that I'm not entirely clear on is your idea of the two writers' rooms establishing. What would they be establishing? I would say that they should establish a basic canon. I think what they need to discuss, Cliff, and what he's doing is it's this one. As I've said quickly there, how to re-establish the Doctor. It's a 62-year-old program, and there have been some misturns on the Doctor's characterization. Is the Doctor omnisexual? I'm just saying that as a daft example that they go in that room and they decide in the end what is the situation, because what we do now, we poo-poo-ing that there was a female Doctor. They're going to have to try and work in, was that a blip? What was that? That's what I mean. That's what I mean. They're not just sat in there going, well, the Doctor's mysterious, enigmatic, and he's an anti-hero. Right, next, let's go to the pub. God, this is easy. He's paying us for this. No, I mean, there's a lot of problems, aren't there, Cliff? Over the years, there's been a lot of mistakes made with the Doctor, and we need to kind of establish, well, that was a mistake. I mean, by actually saying something was a mistake, establishes the rule again, doesn't it? So I think we do need to go to that. But I don't want to be the big I am who says it's that, it's that, it's that. You need a whole load of writers who will argue the toss. You want the interior doors back on a big lever on the console, says Garbage. You like that big red, yeah. Michael Nemo. Oh, he's thinking. Room in your manifesto for a multi-doc story where the first 6 Doctors and companions are recast. No. Am I allowed to just go, no? The reason I'm saying this is, I'm not saying forever in the future, Michael. What I'm saying is, I mean, I said it here, didn't I? I said no callbacks. No, yeah, there you go. Go forward, no callbacks, no old adversaries, no monsters, no Doctor numbers. What I did say is if it is Paul McGann or whoever we choose for this interregnum, the buy-in time, but with Doctor Who on the TV. I mean, some of us are saying we want a hiatus, but Doctor Who wouldn't be on telly. Now, I do sometimes wonder, these media executives are dangerous. Once Doctor Who's off the telly and it's been off for 2 years, it can be off for 2, 3 years, 4 years. They soon get into a pattern and it becomes, we're not going back to that. And then you've got to remember the other argument is when things aren't on the telly and they haven't been on for a while, the media executives who are very lazy and unimaginative start to say things like, I don't think the viewers will like that now, because you can't test it. I think it's important as Doctor Who fans that we realize the Doctor needs to stay on the TV. And the only way to keep it on the TV is with a safe pair of hands like that, and then move from there. That's what I'm saying, right? That's why I've got that thinking through with Farsight. Bring back McGann, but with the wig. Oh, geez, are you really? I'm not sure about that wig. I'm not. But I'm not the god of Doctor Who, so we can argue the toss on there. Jess, I would be more interested in the attempt of the Doctor to steal a new TARDIS or similar. Are we still going to stick with the telephone box? That's why I said Gallifrey's out of the equation for a while, because while we think it through and the Doctor's stuck. I think it's always best when the Doctor is stuck. Mr. Squinty Mint, the TARDIS should be random. The universe should have forgotten the Doctor. No hero. Yeah, exactly. But everything else is irrelevant. The show should not be about the Doctor, but he should resolve it. Yeah, it's not about the Doctor, but you have to establish all the rules of how does this Doctor Who program operate? Because let's face it, Squinty Mint, are you happy with the blancmange crap we're getting now, where is the Doctor and all the froth and the nonsense and the hype and the colour and the bombast and the hyperbole? Is there a Doctor Who program there? What you need to do is sit down, come up with the rules. The rules are just there to play with. Cliff Maxwell, another aspect of the original run was the purely linear numbering. Don't advertise if it's a multi-part. Yeah. When you had the separate episodes with titles, Let's stick at it. Let's stick at it. I have to say, why don't you be a devious showrunner? Why are you telling everybody everything? We now know Mrs. Flood's going to be the end of every story. It's a pattern. Stop it. You've got to play with us. You've got to be unpredictable like the Doctor. And they've been very predictable. I said before this season started, it looks as though, and I don't have any say. I have no knowledge, but I just work it out. Space Babies and Devil's Cord have had their match in episodes 1 and 2. I could go into it later. Episode 3 has a similar kind of vibe, or there's something going on similar. Same with series episode 4. Same with episode 5. Dot and bubble, very white. Then we go very black, and they've even honoured that and said that's got a link. Then you go for the Rogue episode, very camp and playful, and you've got your Eurovision. It's so predictable. It's so predictable, and we'll have a reset at the end, won't we? Demorpin. I remember when Chibs was announced, and I was briefly hoping that he'd choose a composer as well as he chose. I won't pronounce that for Broadchurch. Yeah, well, I want that time when I don't know who's in it. I want that time when I've never heard of them, because it adds to so much mystery. We didn't know how Matt Smith was going to play it at all. We didn't actually know how Chris Eccleston would play it. David Tennant to me was quite an unknown. I haven't watched Casanova. The trouble with the David Tennant Doctor and that is he's part of this New Who toxicity, which is you're getting through the episode, the one episode, and suddenly he has to start talking mumbo jumbo and talk fast and jump on, dance on tables because he's thought of something. And it's like, oh, stop it. Stop it. 4 episode story. It's kind of been laid through. There's none of that nonsense going on. And you can see in all the newspapers, they're all slagging off Doctor Who for the same thing now. Peter Harrington, we had Sapphire and Steel. That series had so much tension, fear, fun, excitement. Doctor Who could take such from that design. It would take a good writer today, but it's doable. It's very doable, Peter. I'm amazed, absolutely amazed, that with such potential and such a powerhouse of a program, RTD has absolutely missed the target. I do think he understands Doctor Who. He understands Doctor Who too well. And you know they say familiarity breeds contempt. He is so familiar with the Doctor Who concept that he wants to play with it to the point where when we're watching it first time, we're going, I don't recognize it and I don't like it. Familiarity breeds contempt. You're out. Divine and Dragon, and you seem to be buying into the concept. One of our pals from Who Night, he's always got lots of ideas as well. I mean, if I'd given him time and he wasn't teaching, he'd be on and he'd be giving his ideas like Cliff Maxwell would. We definitely need the inward opening console room. Oh, Farsight. Oh, you're loving your TARDIS. I thought I was the geek, you know, with my pillars. You? Peter Venkman. I'm totally taking all the hate for no swaps whatsoever being acknowledged. Quantum Conscious. The actor Paul McGann is 65, and unfortunately, I do not believe the powers that be would cast someone at that age due to ageism, as well as their desire to appeal to a very young audience. Well, more fool them, because the youngsters are not watching it. I've got my slides. I've got my evidence. 5 to 14-year-olds, it's not their top program. The 16 to 34-year-olds, it's not their top program. I don't know who RTD thinks these under 35s look like, but he's not aiming at them and he doesn't understand them. And remember, Quantum, was Genesis of the Daleks for 8-year-olds? Or was it for 8-year-olds to aspire to try and understand what the hell was going on? They didn't understand the fascism. They didn't understand all those echoes of the Second World War. They didn't understand. It was a good one to start to introduce the Daleks, isn't it? It's a classic one. But if you really do look at that, it's so Machiavellian. It's so political. But you were so gripped by running down corridors, everything Peter Purves said, that linear concept, the time ring concept, the TARDIS has been taken away. This is what I mean. It's a simple concept. And Peter Purvis was right. Don't overcomplicate it with all the crap. It's a story with a few subplots, and you've got time to explore them. You've got time to have a political message if you want. It is sci-fi after all. But because it's just laid in cleverly and well drafted, because you've had time over 4 or 5 weeks to do it, it doesn't look like at the last 5 minutes you get a lecture. That's the problem. Every week it's on the nose because they don't know how to fit it into this fast-paced plot. They create their own format that they can't live with. Madness. Absolutely madness. They haven't thought it through. Give us the money. Cheers. Mr. Matt, my new idea for a story will have Gary Oldman at no set time after, but losing control of the TARDIS, nearly getting killed as the console gets overloaded with energy, nearly fusing his hands. Gary Oldman, you see, people are slagging off Paul McGann's age. I mean, I know, I'm trying to think, who are you going to say then? Because we can't have controversy. You see, I think people, once you give them a name, like if I say Paul McGann, and if you don't fancy Paul McGann, you've got the problem back then. Is the next Doctor black, white, Asian, a woman, a man? You've got to have them debates with the BBC. And you've got to have those debates with yourself. I'm buying us time with Paul McGann. So you need to kind of suck it up to a degree, because controversy and Doctor Who in the next year or two will kill it. It cannot have any more controversy. It cannot have the sniff of DEI. It cannot have the smell of wokedom. Everything that we've kicked off about. And doesn't Paul McGann give us some breathing space? But if you kick Paul McGann or somebody of his ilk out of that ideas and put it in the bin, oh, your idea and your choice for the Doctor better be on the money, or the program is dead. Got to be careful. Cliff Maxwell, I don't think casting Jodie was a mistake, and instead the mistake was not having her acknowledge any grounding back to the fact that it was a huge change and also get the show educated. Yeah, it was a missed opportunity, but since it was a missed opportunity, do we want to go back? Thomas McCarthy, TARDIS is bigger inside, but not a shopping mall. It needs personal space and want that comforting TARDIS hum from Hartnell. I know. Stuff the jukebox. We need the TARDIS hum back. We need that TARDIS takeoff effect. I know it's not a takeoff really. It looked a bit like a takeoff in 63, but that whole sequence was so wow. Steve's Ace, the TARDIS is broke and he eventually takes the 14th Doctor who has died and not regenerated. TARDIS at the end of the series. Oh, you swine. Right. I'm going to have to blow up that TARDIS. What I'm going to do, Steve, is I'm going to make sure you can't do that. You can't get a quick get out. That's what I'm going to do. Yes, Peter's into this. No more dance club dancing. If the Doctor's in that setting, he should be gathering information, not looking. Oh, no. Yep. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Right. So, where did we get to? Tomboy Chick here. A female Doctor doesn't work with time travel. You can't go back before the 19 years before you encounter problems. And we've had that with Shooty in a different way, haven't we? So basically, I set out tonight, based on all the evidence, a way I think we can weave through it. I'm not saying I'm the god of it, but basically, I've said it has to be collegiate. I said it has to be time locked. Some people are saying 2 quick hiatus as if that means we'll get it Doctor Who back. And I've said it's got to be the weekend at a certain time. Paul McGann to buy us time. But in the meantime, it's classic Doctor Who with cliffhangers and serialization and scaring the kids. But in the meantime, that TARDIS is a death trap. Yeah? but it's got to have mind-blowing introduction. Forget the tunnel effect now. Stop even trying to echo it. The whole blooming lot. We've got to do that. Now, Thomas McCarthy, McGann 65. So what the kids want to see their grandfather in trouble and get away in the TARDIS as they hide behind the sofa and cheer Grandad on the enemy defeated, and then it's safe to come out. I know Hartnell was in his 50s, but he looked older because they did then, didn't they? I see no problem. I think it's about time we started when our society stopped thinking in boxes. If you think of every time we've kicked back at wokedom and DEI and various things in Doctor Who, we need to not fall into the same trap. Let's not think of labels and boxes and limitations. This program is unique because it doesn't in many ways have limitations apart from kind of loose ones here that are set. And I think it's time that we said the Doctor could be any age. Let's now look. You know, that's the problem. When they were looking for a non-binary or this or that, as soon as you go down the boxes road, you're doomed. The Doctor can be any age if they are charismatic and there's something about them. And I think that's important that we say that. John Sweeney, we are talking about the BBC here. We know who the next Doctor will be, and it ain't White, and it should be who is the most talented who applies to the role. So if I give it to Paul McGann, and as some people say, it might be for a year or two, and all that stuff goes away for a while. Yeah. Stephen Ryan, last episode was stupid. Unit being secure. Yeah. I think I'm starting to think Unit needs to go as well. I have to say, I said Gallifrey go, Timeless Children go, Unit go. I mean, honestly, because it's just laughable. That actor from Horrible History, says Paul Richards, might be good. The curly-haired one with the unusual looks. Sounds like Tom Baker there. Yes, and everybody is now getting naughty because it's that time of night. Will there be pillars in this TARDIS? I think pillars might be one of my stipulations, yes. Would you have 70? Would you say no, is all I'm saying. Because why don't you want to do something that's not been seen? Why don't you want to take a risk? Why don't you just go for something? You can have somebody who's 70 and teetering on the edge. You can have somebody who's 70 and shipshape. I mean, look at the age of Peter Davison and everybody, and they're still doing the West End. I think let's stop thinking of these limitations. And just like we don't like wokedom and we don't like DEI, let's not look as though we're being ageist about what actors have. Every actor, you know, you could have a 65-year-old actor who is not too well. You could have a 77-year-old. Look at Sheila Hancock. Look at some of these actresses who've gone on for quite a while, very successful people. I think no limitations. I think let's just kind of raise the bar on that one. We're too boxed in. But we've got to remember, while we bollock them for their tick boxes, that we don't create our own tick boxes. No. I ain't got a clue who the new Doctor Who should be, but I'm not going to set an age limit or this or that. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? That means they're always going to be around 30 to 40. How dreary is that? Oh, now they're going to be blonde with curly hair. Now they're going to be black with straight hair. I mean, are we just going to be that limited? We obviously can't go teen, I suppose, because of so many issues, and you obviously can't go younger. So, of course, let's not make it so ridiculous that you can't go to a very fit and healthy 72-year-old. That could be fascinating. I've always been fascinated by that, Mr. XD, because let's just say the actor is very fit. To have the character is older, they can't run away. They can't run along some rooftops and then jump like some bloody Superman onto a rope ladder like in the church on Ruby Road. We can't do it. Doesn't that make it much more interesting? And isn't that one of the golden rules of writing, that we don't get cop-outs and shortcuts? that they have to think. The beauty of our Doctor was not that they were action man. It was actually they had to use their brain. And the brain can be in a 72-year-old's body as well as somebody else's. I want to see their eyes. I want to see them thinking. I want them to be magnetic. I couldn't give a toss whether they could do a triple somersault and jump off a skyscraper. Couldn't be asked with that. Peter Harrington, the BBC were open to so much once. Shrinking the Beeb was the first fault when Andrew Burt came in. It destroyed a once amazing factory of ideas that could be tried. BBC, I'll let you go. Oh, they've made their mistake. They really have. Tomboy Chick, I always like the Capaldi line in Heaven Sent about regeneration not necessarily being enough to avoid death and why Time Lords don't do burials. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's too predictable. Everything is too predictable. So I think you can see tonight, folks, that I've set the discussions off and running. Tomorrow night, we will have our Thursday think tank. And the Thursday think tank will follow up on what you've written to me, partly. So this is not over. The game is up now for you to write to me. Based on some of those slides and ideas, you can push back, give me contrary ones, give me your format, and I will try and get some of them together. So we assemble again tomorrow at 5 p.m. We talk again, and as a collegiate, as a think tank, a nice think tank, not the one last week, we actually start to get this together. The Thursday think tank, actually thinking of the future and thinking of going forward and thinking of having our manifesto. We're not being told what to do with Doctor Who. We're not going to sit there looking as though we're carping from the sidelines. We're actually going to say, this is what works. This is what a lot of people agree on. Just do it. Okay, everybody? So thank you for your time. It's the start of something. Thank you for offering all your different tidbits and ideas. This is only the start. Get typing, and 5 p.m. tomorrow night, we'll start talking again. I don't know where this is going to end, but I wouldn't like to be RTD in the BBC. Good night, everybody.